The Ascaso Dream PID is yet another impressive thermoblock espresso machine that we've taken a closer look at. In this review, I'm going to thoroughly examine how the machine performs and if it really does live up to all the claims made. That's really great. Welcome back to us, the coffee makers. We've already produced a comprehensive and detailed test video about the Ascaso Dream PID. You can find that on our main channel, but as always, it turned out a bit more detailed. That's why we've put together a brief summary here with all the important facts regarding this small and compact espresso machine. It's once again a thermoblock system, and the Ascaso Dream PID seamlessly incorporates all the remarkable strengths that you could expect from a well-designed thermoblock. It heats up very quickly and uses relatively little energy. And this is the most important thing, it is very consistent. And not all thermoblocks can actually claim that. This is one of the criticisms that we have to acknowledge repeatedly. However, just like with the larger Ascaso Steel Duo PID model, the small Dream PID machine does a remarkably good job here and is indeed very consistent. During the brewing time, the temperature varies by less than 1 degree. And even over several extractions in a row, we actually have almost no temperature drop until the 4th extraction. And that's already remarkably good indeed, and it is competible impressively when compared to almost all heat exchange espresso machines. The machine is indeed quite pricey, costing around 1,100 euros or approximately 1,150 francs. This fact places it in the higher price range, making it one of the pricier options among thermoblock machines. The Catalan company Ascaso hails from Barcelona and has put a lot of effort into many details here. Among other things, the portafilter, which actually possesses a diameter of 58 millimeters, thereby also fully compatible with any conventional 58mm baskets and entirely suitable for standard tamping. Please exercise caution, as the included sieve does not accommodate our 58.4 tamper. It's absolutely essential to use a tamper that is no larger than 58mm, otherwise properly positioning it will become quite challenging. We suggest you consider changing the sieve, as the one included really does have issues, such as the holes not reaching all the way to the edge, which leaves coffee grounds behind quite often. So you need to clean more after getting the puck out, and secondly, the extraction isn't quite as even to the edge as it would be with a different sieve. We've linked a few sieve options for you below, and also in our detailed review, which is available as usual. Otherwise, the wooden handle feels really excellent in the hand. It clamps securely and comfortably. One of the impressive features of the Ascaso Dream PID is its heated brew group. Heat is efficiently transferred to the brew group, ensuring the entire brew group warms up the portafilter thoroughly. And that way we really do have warmth in the portafilter when we start extracting. And we don't need to heat this separately with water, which is often a situation with other thermoblocks, where we have no heat transfer, like for example with VMAE 170 brew groups, which is a classic case. That's just the portafilter heats itself up through the principle that's already in place. It is solved here in such a way that it is heated, and with that, the Ascaso Dream PID definitely stands out positively compared to many other thermoblocks that you first have to warm up and flush. Also, here on the side, there is this wooden wheel for steaming milk, and overall, the exterior is indeed very well made. It feels quite solid too, owing to the craftsmanship of the aluminum body. Otherwise, we have a rather small drip tray, which unfortunately led to quite a bit of cursing from my colleague Michael. This piece can only be removed here in such a difficult manner, and it contains almost 400 milliliters of water. But once they're in, you can barely manage to transport them anymore. So definitely make sure to change it regularly. It's incredibly important to note that, as we've observed, in order to remove the drip tray, you have to repeatedly unfold this backflush valve or extend this backflush tap each and every time so that you can actually remove it. And it's quite easy to forget to move it back to the front again, otherwise you might end up with the liquid collects here on the back of the top deck plate and then spreads along the edge in this area, causing what can often become a relatively large and unavoidable mess. How does the espresso taste? It tastes as good as the machine's consistency. And we can also say, with the PID sensor, we can really adjust the machine quite precisely. We found no offset, meaning the machine was originally set and shipped with a temperature setting of 94 degrees, and it consistently displayed a reading of 94 degrees every time we checked. And this way, you can target different temperatures if you want to highlight certain espressos, more in the lower temperature range or in the higher temperature range. And then you have a consistent temperature throughout. Moreover, you have the option to adjust the pre-infusion. That means you can set a pre-infusion, you can decide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. Then there's a brief pause, and afterwards the main water is administered. In the thermal block area, it is actually not unusual to encounter a situation like volumetric, referring to the regulation of the water quantity, and it is indeed quite precise. It depends on the level of resistance in the portafilter. That's the reason why the output can sometimes vary. However, it is quite precise overall, allowing you to specify 43 milliliters, and you'll generally achieve that approximated amount. The machine is quite compact and well suited for various kitchen arrangements. With a width of just 245 millimeters, a height of 345, and a depth of 280, it fits relatively well under the typical upper cabinet in a kitchen and blends in nicely with its surroundings. Also because it is overall quite compact and small. There is a slight warming function up here, which isn't sufficient to make the cups extremely warm, but if you want that effect, you can also perform through the water output. While the Ascaso PID really shows off its strengths quite clearly when preparing espresso, we find it, on the other hand, when preparing of cappuccino and milk-based drinks so-so. This is due to the following reasons. First, there is a thermoblock inside, which is responsible for producing the brewing water, but also for producing the steam. This indicates that we are required to convert or switch it. After preparing 2 shots of espresso or just 1 single espresso intended for making a cappuccino, we then proceed to switch over to the steam mode. The thermoblock heats up until it reaches the preset target temperature, which you can smoothly and carefully adjust and control using the small display, ensuring the best possible coffee brewing results. Then we can begin with the steaming process, and quite frankly, it isn't especially fast. It's somewhat slow when warming up here. The process actually takes several seconds. It indicates there's a delay, yet you can find several ways to bridge the gap and patiently endure it. Then the steaming begins, and now our machine, which was factory set to a target temperature of 165, initially has quite a lot of power. Furthermore, there's quite a lot of condensation present. First you need to release it, and then you can proceed to begin steaming. And then, at the beginning, it has a lot of force, which leads to the development of quite a few large bubbles. However, as the steaming continues, it gradually becomes weaker and progressively loses its strength. And afterward, it becomes progressively more challenging in the rolling phase to effectively get the milk moving, and also to knock out and eliminate the bubbles that have formed. And yeah, it's impractical. So much effort at first, then less later. You can shy away, but you can definitely arrange with it. However, after the cappuccino is ready, and when you want to make an espresso again, you have to cool it down first. It's the same situation with single-circuit machines. You need this waiting period between each pull, and particularly when you are switching drink categories. So, you wait, and you can speed up this process by flushing out the hot water that's sitting back there inside the thermoblock. Then the temperature drops faster and you can pull the next espresso. But the water that comes out with the first espresso, and then also with the second espresso, is still quite hot, noticeably higher than the set target temperature. So, not quite as perfect as I initially described, more suitable for espresso. And I have to say, there are genuinely quite a few buts here. To start with, it takes a while before it is truly ready for steaming. Secondly, the machine produces steam that is quite inconsistent. Additionally, there's quite a long wait before you're able to prepare the following drink. Furthermore, the temperature is slightly on the high side. Therefore, I would say it's only partly suitable if you're truly ambitious about frequently switching between the different drink categories. If you're mainly focused on making espresso, then the Ascaso PID is definitely a fantastic choice. I believe it's quite an interesting machine. It's well constructed and it's definitely well crafted. Ascaso is incredibly innovative. It's one of the most energy-efficient machines around, heats up super fast, so you definitely don't have to plan your morning around it, but you can simply say, I want it on now, and after approximately 2 or 3 minutes, it's essentially ready to be used, especially if you assist it slightly by using the heater on top. One thing we can absolutely recommend is upgrading the sieves, as it truly makes sense to consider other sieves and possibly a different tamper, especially since a tamper is included. Firstly, it's not properly suited for this included sieve, and secondly, it's completely unergonomic. Over time, it becomes quite unenjoyable, and in addition, it lacks precision. What experiences have you had with the Ascaso PID? Write it in the comments or directly in a detailed blog post below. We're eager to hear how you're getting along with the machine. Thanks for watching, best regards, and see you soon from the coffee makers.